everyone, it is a cozy Sunday here and I am out of granola, which means it's time to restock my breakfast jar. So I'm gonna take you with me to make my favorite spiced pecan granola. Super easy, super delicious. As I said, a great breakfast, but also a great snack. All you're gonna need is some rolled oats or quick oats, some pecans and pumpkin seeds. Make sure they're both raw so they toast better in the oven, maple syrup, coconut oil, almond butter or peanut butter works too, and pumpkin pie spice is what I'm using. If you don't have that, it's fine. Any combination of ginger, cinnamon, nutmeg, ginger, cinnamon, allspice, or honestly just cinnamon, depending on your taste, doesn't really matter. It's totally up to your preferences, which is what makes making granola so easy. So yeah, that's pretty much it. I'm gonna grab my bowl and let's get into it. Okay, so I'm gonna be honest with you here. I pretty much just eyeball this. It really doesn't have to be perfect. It's granola, the measurements aren't exact. We're not baking anything here. That's a science. So I just chuck in about as many oats as I think I'll want, or about as many I think will last me a couple weeks. So I would say there's probably about maybe 2 cups there, 2.5 cups. So I start with that as my base. Then, same thing, I just eyeball some pecans. I would love to tell you I chop these up, but I just kind of throw in, same thing, however many I think I'll want. And then because they're so easy to break apart, I just break them into 4s with my fingers or halves. This is actually very soothing. All right, once those are all broken up, I go in with my pumpkin seeds. Oh. Same thing, I just kind of chuck in however many I like. So I would say there's about 1/2 cup of the broken pecan pieces and maybe 1/4 cup of pumpkin seeds. Then, before you mix it up, you grab your pumpkin pie spice, and guess what? You eyeball it. So you could do a little more if you like strong flavor. I do quite a bit, to be honest, or just a hint if you want it more natural, if you're gonna put it with something else that's quite flavored, maybe like a flavored yogurt. Seems all right to me. Then I'll give it a little mix and just make sure it looks like it's evenly coated. Can you see? Perfect, so I'm happy with that. I'm gonna add a little bit more pumpkin pie spice actually, and then we are going to be adding salt, but not until later, so don't worry about that yet. And that's optional as well, just like pretty much everything in this recipe. All right, so that is your dry ingredients, or those are your dry ingredients. Next, we're gonna mix our wet ingredients. So I'm gonna grab a pot for that. So, same thing here, we're going to eyeball it. So I would say I do about a 1-to-1 ratio of almond butter or peanut butter and coconut oil, each about 1/4 cup to 1/3 cup, depending on how much granola you make. Because basically the goal is just to have enough of your wet ingredients to evenly coat the granola so that it toasts up nice and crisp. So you're just gonna throw that right into a pot. Put in my coconut oil. I've also used canola oil for this as well, and it works just fine. Just make sure it's light tasting. Like a really strong olive oil might taste kind of olivey, which is not really what you want maybe in a pumpkin-y, or not pumpkin-y, pecan granola. But again, you do you. So yeah, that's about 1-to-1, I'd say. And then for the maple syrup, just depends on how sweet you want it. I try not to go too heavy with the sugar because I am having this for breakfast. So a sugar high is not really what you want first thing in the morning. So I would say there's about 2 tablespoons there, and that's gonna be over the entire batch. So that's not so bad. Then I'm gonna go melt this down on my stove. All right, I'm back with the melted liquid ingredients. You can see there it's all nice and smooth and cohesive. So we're just gonna dump that right on top of the dry ingredients. gonna mix that all up and make sure everything is evenly coated. That's nice and mixed. You can see here, everything's nice and cohesive. So pretty much, you just want everything to be a little bit damp. It doesn't need to be soaking wet. It just needs to be damp enough so that it can crisp up a little bit in the oven. So I'm gonna throw this on my baking sheet. So I've lined a baking sheet with some tin foil here. You can use parchment as well. Tin foil is just what I have right now. Just throw it right on there. And then spread it out so everything is in one even coat. And then before we put it in the oven, I'm just gonna top it with a little bit of salt because I am a salty sweet cow. And salt just brings out flavor, of course. All right, she is going to go into the oven at 375 for about 10 minutes. Then we're gonna check and see how much longer she needs. So after about 10 minutes, I gave these a stir and popped them back in the oven for another 3-4 minutes. And then she was pretty much done. You can tell it's finished because you can start to smell the pecans really strongly. They get kind of a caramelized scent and they get a nice dark brown color. Obviously we don't want them black, then it's burnt. So I would start checking it every 2 minutes or so after the first 10 minutes because the nuts do burn very fast. So from here, I'm gonna transfer it into my handy dandy granola jar. So this is where the tin foil comes in handy. Just scoop this up in case we drop a little bit. She's really full today. There we go. And make a little funnel and pour her right in the jar. Got a taste test before we put it away. It's very good. I need a drink. All right, everybody, that is your spiced pecan granola. I hope you like it. Let me know if you give it a try. Take care, and I'll see you soon.